and welcome to another exciting edition of the Lost Art of Wrestling. This is the Wrestlemania 37 post-show review. In fact, although it isn't really a post-show because we're not doing this directly after the pay-per-view, we're doing it 5 days after. But hey-ho, we just roll with it. I'm your host. It's me. It's that L-O-double-G, the stowaway from the RAD podcast and the Phoenix pod, Lewis Ogden. Joining me this week is a man who's known as Not Daz in the group chat, the man who, in the little branching series of podcasts that we've done, is been nicknamed the Master of Boys. And, ladies and gentlemen, he's managed to get it up. It's Mr. Anthony Dark.
Wife, I've managed to get it up. Love it. Right. Yes, I'm here. I'm present and correct. Very correct. Sometimes too correct. But never wrong. Everything I say is 100% fucking true.
Yeah, possibly. So before we get into reviewing the 2 nights of WrestleMania from not Levi Stadium, because that's the fucking 49ers Stadium. What's the Tampa Bay Stadium called?
The Pirate Ship Arena. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, there you go. That'll do.
Pirate Ship Arena.
The Pirate Ship Arena. There's
Ahoy.
There's a little annual tradition that seems to be becoming an annual tradition with WWE. Seemingly the week after WrestleMania, they go on what Wrestling Soup tends to call the Great Big Massive Bus Flip and get rid of a load of people who are under contract 90% of the time for for reasons, because let's be honest, they're not really featured on TV for a good year, 18 months or something like that. I believe Mr. Dark has the entirety, or the list that we've got at the moment, of the 10 releases thus far, because we are recording this on a Friday evening, so if you want to...
Yeah, so as of last night, and / today, we have Samoa-Joe, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, the Iconics, mickie-james, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Bojangles Dallas, Mojo Jojo Rowley, and Wesley Blake. Ranging from the what the bloody hell to thank the bloody God. I probably read them out in the right order there, actually.
Yeah, probably.
On that scale,
yeah, you have indeed. Yeah.
Quite a shock, some of these, considering some of them literally were on WrestleMania and were...
Well, 2 of them were.
Well, we're doing something, shall we say. I mean, Mojo Rawley hasn't been the same since she started looking in mirrors and wearing some weird-ass face paint, and I don't know what that gimmick was, still don't know to this day. Chelsea Green was a bit of a surprise as well, because I know she's been injured for a long time, but she showed a bit of promise and all that. She did the business, so to speak, when she was called upon.
She didn't seem to have that much time in NXT. Like, I don't really... it's been ages since I've kept track of anything with NXT. But I know that she did have an injury problem with her wrist. I'm pretty sure she was featured in the Women's Rumble, if I remember quite rightly. I think so. Let me just double check that.
She's been on Raw. I remember that. And main event or whatever. She's not had much time in WWE at all to sort of do a thing. So this is possibly a requested one at her behest, possibly, because I don't see why WWE would want to release her, considering they've not given her much of a chance. She's not had much of a chance to have an input. mickie-james, long-term servant of WWE, also had that little stint in TNA, which Hardcore Country, which we all remember, don't we? I'm hoping mickie-james rocks up on NWA and joins Strictly Business.
I would think with mickie-james should probably do the same thing that Thunder Rosa's doing. Where she'll have the working relationship with AEW, but then also make NWA appearances at the same time.
Yeah, but you know, she can go to work anywhere tomorrow, and she's one of them. Tucker splits from.
The writing was on the wall ever since the split from Otis, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's another one I don't think was given a decent enough chance to prove himself. He wasn't really in any feuds or anything. He was just there, but Otis had the momentum at the time, and like you said, writing was on the wall. In terms of Kalisto, he's not been the same since. He had the tag team with Sin Cara, and all of a sudden it starts to gain a bit of momentum, and then the Lucha House Party, as we know, is just a show of shite. It's like it reminds me of the Mexicools. They seem to like to bring all the free Mexicans in and have them in a lovely little trio and make them do Mexican-y stuff, like be luchas and as Vince McMahon would
be Mexican jumping beans in a
exactly
mini-max size. Yes.
Bo Dallas, I believe Bo Dallas. Don't quote me on this. Asked for his release because I know he has a real estate agency now, and he's set all that up. Being the son of IRS. Wow.
Sets up quite nicely, that.
Shock. Yeah, again, no surprise there. I think his mind is elsewhere at the minute. Happy for him. He's got that thing outside of wrestling, and he's happy doing what he does, and good luck to him. Wesley Blake. Well, what an absolute weird 2 years it's been for good old Blakey boy. Where do we start? I certainly know where we finish, but where do we bloody start with this lad? It's been a roller coaster.
Going from NXT Tag Team Champion to being in a rather forgettable tag team in the Forgotten Sons to allegedly being brought up to the main roster, but I can't actually remember if they actually made any appearances whatsoever on the main roster. And then it's a little bit like your Bo Dallases, a little bit like your Kalistos, just vanished off the face of the planet. So in terms of sort of releases, it's not that much of a not that surprising.
No, I mean, I think the big one we need to talk is Samoa Joe. I don't understand that. I think Samoa Joe is money wherever he goes. He's that good at what he does. I think it could be a requested one on his behest. I think because why would WWE want to let him go? I mean, the guy was dynamite on commentary. He was dynamite in the ring, dynamite on the everything in terms if you want that you want in an employee, shall we say. It was just all around good at everything. I do find it hard to understand. Obviously, massive fan of the Iconics. You might remember the first time I appeared on one of these bloody podcasts. I backed the Iconics strongly to win the good old women's tag team title, which is still a thing, by the way. Don't forget them. They're still used. They're on the waist of some persons.
We'll talk about it.
But, yeah, that's a strange one for me because they're good together. I like the annoying, shitty heel. People always the criticism of them is that they're annoying. That's what they're meant to be. That's their thing. And if they're annoying you, they're probably doing it right. Big shocks. I hope they end up in AEW.
I think the problem with the Iconics is just sort of like they're a popular act and they might have sort of like chemistry outside of the ring, despite having this sort of like their jarring moments on a pretty consistent basis. But the fact of the matter is, neither of them can work properly. Neither of them can work. Like, honestly, if you ask me if I wanted to see like a women's tag team match with the Iconics, or if I wanted to see a women's tag team match that featured like, I don't know, a makeshift team of like Naomi and Natalya, I go with Naomi and Natalya because at least both of them two are fairly competent in the ring, whereas the Iconics truly are not.
It could be a case of the grass is greener on the other side of these two. I think sometimes you've not got time in WWE, I don't think, to not be good. However, unless you have strong connections in the world. again, I do think the grass is greener for these two especially. But I mean, I just want to take example of Tainara Conti, who wasn't exactly the best worker in NXT. I was very, very skeptical when she came to AEW, and just watching some of her recent matches, you know, the girl's turning it around. Not saying she's a fucking world beater, by the way, but there's progress there. I think sometimes it's just what people need. WWE is a very hectic and very intense place to be, and if you're not on your ball one night, it sets off a horrible trend.
Well, I don't think the likes of the Iconics, I don't think Joe, and I don't think Mickie-James will struggle to get work, in all honesty.
I think Chelsea Green will go back to Impact.
Yeah, probably, but you know,
Laurel Van Ness.
They're still doing empty arena shows.
They've been doing empty arena shows for about a decade now. God bless them. They'll fire.
But yeah, it's just like I remember when these releases were coming out, and like I saw like a couple of tweets coming from Tucker, just saying sort of like, you know, finally freedom, and I'm just there thinking, mate, in the grand scheme of things, you would have been better, you know, being on the roster at this point in time, because it's very much sort of like, you know, the Enzo and Cass thing. Once Enzo and Cass split up, Cass literally had like a couple of weeks of being pushed, and then when they realised that he could not work to save his fucking life, he was out the door. And you don't hear anything from Big Cass bar his, you know, recovery from sort of like, you know, the weight gain when he left WWE, and he's sort of like, he seems to be back on track at the moment. But that's the only thing that's really talked about with Cass. And that's I bring this up because something came out from Mike Bennett's Twitter account yesterday. You know, the man who was literally saying that he was to leave WWE was sort of, you know, a blessing in disguise, and you know, he wanted to go out there and sort of like make a name for himself. And I'm pretty sure he sort of like stunk it up with Nick Aldis on like one of the empty arena NWA shows.
He did, yeah.
and pretty much hasn't been heard from since.
Well, I think he's reformed the Kingdom with Mr. Taven. I think they've reformed the Kingdom in Ring of Honor.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, you know it, folks.
Uh-huh. But, I just bring this up because, you know, Mike Bennett sees himself as being sort of like this main event caliber superstar, even though he never fucking will be, unfortunately. But your wife is fit, mate. But even then...
Well, you couldn't have been more harsh on the lad. Yeah, you're a bit of a dick, but well, you've done well.
He's done fucking well, I'm telling you. Because like, I've met them in person, and I sort of like, you know, I sort of like look between the two, and I'm like, what do you see in him? I mean, he must be a fantastic lover.
He must be an amazing.
It won't be the money. Because if it was to do with the money, he'd have fucking stuck around in WWE.
Hey, if it was the money, Maria would have got with John Cena.
Exactly. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. The reason I say this, though, Mike Bennett put on Twitter yesterday evening, on sort of like the topic of these releases coming out. And this is the tweet that he tweeted out. I'm saying tweet too much. To all my friends today, it's scary at first, but you are all unbelievably talented and you will all accomplish amazing things. You have just been delivered the greatest or biggest blessing in disguise, freedom. Go out there and kill it. See you guys soon. Okay, now, I just want to... This little section here, you've just been delivered the biggest blessing in disguise, freedom. Yeah, because, you know, I always think sort of, you know, freedom as becoming an independent contractor and possibly, you know, at most earning like, what, $300 a week, if I'm lucky.
I like
whereas,
bit of that
whereas being on sort of like, you know, guaranteed tens of thousands of dollars at the very least. And in sort of like, you know, a WWE setup where I'm not having to do any house shows. I can pretty much do whatever I like as long as I'm keeping in shape, unless they want to bring me up to TV, which is next to impossible.
Mm.
You know, sort of weighing up in between.
Yeah, I mean, I love the first bit of that tweet where he starts talking about people being talented, and you are all very talented. Oh God! So we've established he's a liar too. So he's a liar.
That'd be the equivalent of one of the Kardashians starting a tweet off saying, "You are all naturally beautiful." I'm just sort of like, what black?
Spot on. Spot on. Oh God. I hope they haven't written that, by the way, because in fact I hope they have. If they have, can someone screenshot it and send it to us?
Give it time. Give it time. Yeah. So we'll move on. Because that's we just wanted to touch bases on it, and obviously knowing WWE, they like to do these bus flips in 2 days, 2 nights even. So there'll probably be more releases to come by the time this has gone out on the airwaves. Right, let's move on to the what we're here to talk about in the first place. Let's talk about WrestleMania 37. Without giving too much away in terms of getting into spoilery territory over certain matches, Ant, what were your thoughts on WrestleMania as a whole?
Not bad. And that's the nicest way I can put it. Mm-hmm. Not bad. The problem is, it shows how congested that WWE roster is. And I think throwing some people on telly for the sake of throwing them on telly is more damaging to the product than they think it is. I also don't know who the fecking hell some of these celebrities are. I mean, I don't know anything from music past, fucking Elvis. Yeah, that's where my music level stops. And I like to think I can keep up with everything. But sweet baby Jesus, who are these celebrities that they're pulling in now? Who are they? Who's Rexa? Rexa? Who's that cow? Where did you drag?
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Oh, she sang America the Beautiful.
Oh, right, okay. Right, yeah,
America
I know.
the Beautiful. God.
It was the one with the low-cut top with her, fumbly bumblies hanging about, wasn't it?
I read a review that, I think I've got it. Oh, yes, I've got it here. It said, I don't know much about this Bebe Rexha woman that sang America the Beautiful. Based on her outfit, she probably earned some new fans. So we can also establish on that comment she's a shit singer.
Or she's got a cracking OnlyFans account.
Has she got an OnlyFans account?
I don't know, I'm just speculating.
Somebody, if you've got it, write in, talk to us, tell us if that's the thing. Because fuck me, I'm not buying it. I'm married. I'm fucked.
well, to be honest with you, mate, it's sort of like, in terms of who they cater their product to, well, number one is Vince McMahon, but number two is for the American people. Because, Vince McMahon still hasn't seemed to grasp the concept that he broadcasts to a worldwide audience. So, it didn't really surprise me when they get like random pop.
There's other people watching. There's other people watching. What? I thought it's been just me.
Oh, there isn't, pal.
It's just 30 years. It's just me.
Speaking of Vince McMahon, he was out with pretty much all the people who were being featured over the 2 nights, just basically saying, "Welcome to WrestleMania," because I'm Vince McMahon. I'm into my late 70s at this point. I don't really like to perform that much, so this is me. No, he's a bit more grandiose than that. But
Prince Philip looked healthier than this lad.
No, he didn't. Don't talk shit. I hate to be morbid, but Prince Philip has been a walking corpse for like the past decade or whatever.
Walking corpse.
Yes.
Good gimmick to have, that walking corpse. Hey, Kevin Nash, get on walking corpse.
They already had the walking corpse gimmick, mate. It was called The Undertaker.
Yeah, but that was charismatic and fun and good.
So what I loved with Night One is that they had the big grandiose Vince McMahon welcoming to WrestleMania. They had the American national anthem. They had the opening video package that was the exact same package that was played on Night 2. So, fantastic way of catering to the people who were watching both nights. And I love the way they sort of they introduce the show, welcome to WrestleMania, and we instantly have to take a break because of the weather.
Because it got very windy and a bit wet, and we're going to hide away from the wind and the rain.
Well, no, because where they are in Florida is subject to, thunderstorms. So you can understand to an extent why they had to delay it. It wasn't a case of sort of cricket. Oh, there's a bit of drizzle, so I have to go in for an hour and a half.
Hey, if you stood in a field with fucking rain, it ain't nice.
Well, no, I'm not saying it isn't, but, there's... that wouldn't look very good on TMZ, sort of multiple attendees at a wrestling show got struck by lightning.
I don't know, it might have made this thing a damn sight better, to be honest with you. I'd love to see a few electricity. Just have the Undertaker actually casting real fucking lightning for once.
Well, I'd argue that this sort of this weather break had. I like to think of it as sort of God just going. So Vince McMahon, you decided to mock me when you said you'd beat me in a wrestling match in 2006. Well, now I take my revenge. But in actuality, it was somewhat of a blessing in disguise because I would argue that with this 45 minute weather break, it actually congested the show, so they had to sort of keep it at a deliberate pace, to which I feel Night 1 flowed a hell of a lot better than Night 2 did.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think obviously they did lots of promo to sort of fill the time in and do all that with pretty much everyone who was on that night, etc. Yeah, they filled the time well, I think. It's something that I would say did catch them off guard slightly, and they recovered well and just played it off very nicely, as best as they could be.
Indeedy, I definitely agree. Well, even though I wasn't listening to the promos, but I heard pretty much everyone bar Braun Strowman and Shane McMahon did actually really quite well.
Yeah, that sounds about right, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Right, so we'll get on to our opening match. Bobby Lashley successfully defending the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre, winning by technical submission in 18 minutes 20 seconds. I thought this was a decent opener.
I thought it was a very good opener.
I wasn't expecting anything to blow away, because Drew, they're both decent workers. But I wasn't sure how they would mesh together. But I actually think they work quite well. Because we were talking the whole night through sort of the group chat. I noticed that sort of Lashley isn't a fantastic bumper, but I just think it's down to the great big massive size of his fucking back, being that he can't actually bump properly. So I'm sort of I've given him a pass on that. I actually quite like the story of the match of what Drew was trying to do by, using the Kimura submission, sort of a wear down technique, because one, it prevents Lashley from doing his master lock or the hurt locker, or the hurt lock as it's called.
The hurt lock, yeah.
Is it the hurt lock? And two, it was a nice little nod back to the man he beat for the WWE title at last year's Mania, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
So that was a nice little callback for me.
It was, yeah. I mean, God, these guys do work well together, these two, and I did quite enjoy this. Shocked by the result, because I think everyone was expecting Drewski to get his nice shiny belt back. I'm not upset that Lashley still got it. I I like him and MVP together. I think they're a bloody great combination, to be honest. God bless MVP for resurrecting that lad's career and doing the business for him. I think he was the missing piece, MVP and Lashley at the minute. Where Drew goes from here, I don't know, but they could easily keep going back and forth for this, and I'd be more than happy to see him.
I think that's what they're doing for the next month's pay-per-view.
Yeah,
I'm pretty certain it is. Yeah,
I think they both sold everything well. It was a very lovely, solid match. Yeah. Very lovely batting. Well done.
Decent way of opening up Mania. Unfortunately, we have to go down from here because we have to talk about the tag team turmoil with the winners receiving a shot at the women's tag team championship on night 2. Natalya and Tamina eventually won out, I should say, beating out Lana and Naomi, Billie Kay and Carmella, Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, and Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott. I mean, it went in total. This match went 14 minutes 15 seconds, and
jeez, what a waste of 14 minutes.
Well, I know. I realise it's a tag team turmoil match, but I mean, like, what I don't get, right? It starts off with Lana and Naomi against Billie Kay and Carmella. Now, we've already established that Billie Kay has been released by WWE. Obviously, SmackDown hasn't happened yet, so we don't know what they're doing with Carmella. There was a lot of sort of feelers going out that possibly sort of like Lana and Naomi victory might work in tandem due to, you know, the whole storyline of Nia Jax constantly putting Lana through announce tables. But that went completely out the window when they were pinned in less than 2.5 minutes. So I
don't understand that, because they've sort of given him a gimmick with this glowy dancey stuff. I don't know why you would at least give him a chance.
They obviously don't see anything in either of them. They've obviously given up on both of them.
Well, yes, this is it, isn't it?
It's Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott were given chance to sort of like go a little bit. I'm surprised they didn't win, actually, because
you know what, the crowd was really, really on for them.
Yeah,
they're really, really on for them, and I'm surprised they didn't get it, because I think they were the only
established team.
Legitimate established team to win. I'm surprised they've not gone all in with these two. I mean, Natalya and Tamina, two solid workers, yeah, great veterans, well done, clappy, well done. But I can't help think that, just move aside.
Yeah.
I mean, no disrespect to Natalya and Tamina, but you had your fucking chance. That's the nicest way I could put it.
Yeah.
You had your fucking chance. And it was years and years and years ago, and you buggered it. The only reason you're probably still in the company is of your connections with your past relatives.
Careful with Tamina.
Well, again, it brings... well, let's be honest. We're not going to get too much into that, but she does do what her old man does a lot, doesn't she? And they're not shy of saying it.
Can you just establish what you mean by that when you say... She does do what her old man does.
Okay. In terms of the in the ringy doing the same thing with the same hand gesture and the same old finishing move and the same old. I'm not talking about their outside activities.
You've covered it.
I'm not accusing anyone of anything, but
not until substantial evidence is put forward.
God, this is taking a very dark turn. And you know what? That's the first time I've not meant to do that on these podcasts. I've not meant to purposely insult her. She does what her dad does in the ring.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Okay. Regards to what her dad did outside the ring, we all know. Yada, yada, yada. So, and Natalya's still doing the sharpshooter, the worst sharpshooter I've ever seen in my life, by the way. She's still much a Hart Dynasty thing, isn't she? Hart Dynasty knockoff. No offense, love.
Mm-hmm.
She still got a bit bitchy after she was putting that $1 bracket on those things. And gave a massive speech about how she was. I'm like, I'll just fuck off. No, literally, no one cares what you fucking think. No, but these two have had the chance. It's gone. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan the Riott Squad should have won this.
They should have done, but I don't think. I don't even think the Riott Squad winning would have saved this match, because this match was an absolute fucking car crash. From Naomi's shitty can kicks that hardly freaking connect to
What are they?
I don't know.
They're just ridiculous.
To Carmella's roundhouse kick that didn't even hit fucking Lana, but she went and sold it anyway.
Chuck Norris would be disgusted.
And then sort of Mandy Rose falling on her ass as she was walking to the ring, and then Dana Brooks' nipple slip. It's just amount of car crash women's wrestling, and it really highlights how bleak the talent pool in that women's division is.
Watch this match again, people, and play the Benny Hill theme over the top of it. You might enjoy it more.
Possibly.
In fact, you will enjoy it more. I do it to football, fast forward it. It's fucking brilliant. Don't waste my evenings, folks.
No, I can tell. Then we get on to what, for me, was my favourite match of the entire weekend. Mm-hmm. Cesaro representing the Baldies. He got the win over big, bad, nasty Seth Rollins in 11 minutes 35. I mean, I said during the prediction show that I can't stand fucking Seth Rollins. It's not a case of sort of like, I don't doubt him as an in-ring worker, but as a person and as a character. Well, as a person, he's as obnoxious as his fucking character's supposed to be.
The fucking yoghurt, that lad. He's an absolute yoghurt.
That's an insult.
He's an absolute peach yoghurt.
But I have to give credit where credit is due. He worked really fucking well with Cesaro. Big shock fucking horror. Cesaro looked like a fucking beast. Rollins more than carried his load. And it just worked into a really, really darn good match. And I'm delighted to say that the right person went over, despite my predictions.
Absolutely. It's not a great surprise knowing to us that Cesaro's finally getting some success. And it's no surprise to us how well he works, how well he is, because he's been doing it fucking every match this guy's been in has been fucking gold. And he's drawn the best out of everyone he's come up against and made them look £1,000,000 quid. Mm-hmm. Now, finally, someone else is doing the same. And I credit old Seffi Poo for finally putting him over, because he could have gone, no, with his massive snoz. And just see why him and Triple H get on. The snozzies. I'm happy. I'm so. This is the. No shot. This was match of the night. Match of the nights. Mm-hmm. I'm shocked, sort of, at the result, because I think WWE's finally brave enough to hopefully push Cesaro. Although I think I might have fucking jinxed it now.
Well, to be honest with you, we all thought he was going to get a great big massive push when he won the Andre Battle Royal at WrestleMania 30, which was 7 years ago, and his pushes bar like the odd feud here with Sheamus that eventually ends up in a tag team.
The bar.
And here, there, and everywhere, but he's never really been given like a proper shot. This seems to be sort of like the springboard to warrant giving him a push. Just the manner in which he won as well. Just sort of like, because Seth's come with like the big guns. He's hit like a twisting frog splash. Mm-hmm. He's done like Willie Siegel's hidden blade, which is the forearm to the back of the neck. Sets up for the stomp, goes for the stomp. Cesaro catches him in midair with a glorious fucking uppercut. Goes goes with the Argentine backbreaker airplane spin, which calls the UFO without the fucking hands. I seem to remember seeing on a Twitter account, I can't remember who it was, in terms of like a WWE road agent. I think it was someone like a Terry Taylor, someone of that kind of caliber. But they saw Cesaro do like the UFO on a independent show, and I think it was like a big time independent show. It might have been like a WrestleCon or something like that. And this like WWE agent went up to Cesaro and just sort of like went, "That move's fucking awesome. Why don't you do it all the time?" And Cesaro just literally went, "Yeah, I don't really want to. I only really want to bust it out at sort of like the big shows. I don't want it to be sort of like, overplayed. I want to, use it at a WrestleMania." He fucking did.
Yeah.
And then, after the UFO, the giant swing, neutralizer, clean pin, 1, 2, 3, fan fucking dabby dozy. Now fucking push him.
Yeah, they've got. Oh, this is the thing. They've got to go all in on him now. They can't. This can't stop. Now he's beaten Seth Rollins, a former world champion. They've got to sort of do. They've got to. They've really, really got to.
Because he's not getting any younger.
And I'm not being funny. I think he realises that as well.
And
if he sniffs that the grass is greener, I mean, think of all the companies going to throw money at him. And they will throw money, even if it's just a 1 year, a 2 year run. He's going to be money. WWE have got to treat this lad with a bit of respect, I think, now. Because, again, it's very, very touchy with how popular AEW can be, how popular NWA can be, and how popular Impact are there. Impact are there. So Impact are there, and that's always an option, and that's nice to have. Something in the back burner. We all love that. That should be Impact's new slogan, the back burner. Really, there you are. I've just got you 100 million quid's worth of sales in t-shirts there with the back burner. But yeah, they've got to do something with Cesaro now. Push him, really push him. If you're not going to make him world champion, still push him, put him in the big matches, because you're going to get something out of it. You're going to get this big pop, this reaction when fans are back consistently, and people are going to watch Cesaro in a big match. Wrestling fans are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't disagree with him. I can't disagree with you. He's fucking awesome.
Yes.
Right, we'll move on to next up, AJ Styles and Omos, defeating The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I found this match a little bit jarring, just because. Well, I assumed that like New Day were the faces, AJ and Omos were the heels, but Kofi and Xavier just basically worked heel on AJ, and then AJ, yeah, AJ made the big tag to the Great Big Massive Giant, which seemed to pop the crowd. I mean, the crowd seemed to have been sort of like set in the way of like, okay, you want to tell the story of AJ and Omos being the baby faces in this match, we'll go along with it. And Omos got in the ring, and he wasn't terrible.
He wasn't, was he?
I saw like people on Twitter like comparing him to fucking Great Khali. I was like, mate, Omos doesn't look like he's in pain whenever he like walks 2 feet.
He don't like he chafes, does he?
No,
he don't like he chafes.
And he came in, he no-sold everything that Kofi and Xavier tried doing, throwing themselves at him. He literally fucking destroyed them single-handedly. I love that AJ was out on the apron, just sort of like giving the big giant instructions. Just because yes, he is a great big massive dude, but he's not as experienced in the ring as AJ is. And I just love the fact that it's sort of like, after the tree slam, you got AJ on the apron, sort of like pin him with 1 foot, and so he did, and they won the belts. I also love as well just before that, AJ doing the phenomenal forearm off of Omos's shoulders. Thought that was really cool. That was very cool.
Well, it was a pleasant surprise to see. The match was average at best, but it was a nice, pleasant surprise to see Omos do quite well and come off it looking pretty fucking decent.
Yeah.
It was a nice little surprise to me because you think, like you mentioned the Great K there, you think, oh fuck me, here we go with another fucking Ent. That's a Lord of the Rings reference, people. It's a Lord of the Rings reference. You better fucking get it. Yeah, pleasant surprise at how bloody good this lad was. I was really happy. Yeah. Really happy for him. He's on the big stage. He's doing his thing, and yeah, he looked really good. I'm still quite shocked about it now. I'm quite happy about it now, really. Because you do think, you see another big guy like this, you just think, oh, the Great Khali, Big Show, fuck me, he's going to slump around the ring looking like he's weighed down by magnets. But no, this boy can do his thing and do it well. Yeah. And I think the best thing for him at the minute is being stood next to AJ Styles.
Yeah. Because it makes him look even more intimidating.
It does, and I think someone like AJ can sort of just guide. I think AJ knows the business so well, and is going to guide Omos hopefully away from the Great Khali comparisons and all that malarkey, and just keep him off that. And even if he's in the ring for 2 or 3 minutes, but he does that 2 or 3 minutes well, that's what it's working. And this tag team at the minute is working for Omos, and hopefully it's the start of something very special for this young man.
Here's hoping, fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
We then come to... Oh, I forgot to mention that the Tag Team Turmoil was one of my options for taking a piss break. But here comes my second candidate for taking a piss break. Braun Strowman. Winning it for everybody who's ever been called stupid. So you're basically calling the entirety of your audience stupid.
I was going to say, what's your deal here, bro? What's your deal here, bro?
Who fucking does? Braun Strowman defeated Shane McMahon in a steel cage match. I wasn't expecting this match to be anything. It wasn't anything. The only real cool thing really was Braun ripping the side of the cage to drag Shane back into the ring, because it's like literally as soon as Shane had sort of like gone over the cage and was climbing down, and sort of like Braun got up, stuck his hand through sort of like the hole and was sort of like Shane. It was sort of like a case of, so what are you going to do here, buddy? Because if Shane just starts climbing back up the freaking cage to get in via the top, you're going to look fucking stupid. Well, both of you are going to look fucking stupid. So what are you going to do here? So he just fucking tore a hole in the cage wall, which was rather cool looking. But I mean, we've said this time and time again. Who really cares? Who's really buying WrestleMania? Who's going to see WrestleMania to see a Shane McMahon match? Nobody.
We talk about Darby Allin being a spot. What I hate now is people writing up saying, "Oh, it's really impressive that Shane takes these bumps at 51 years old." He's not a fucking wrestler. He's taking up a spot of someone who is a wrestler and who's worked hard to be in that position. And I'm not saying he's not worked hard, but he's not a wrestler. He's there by circumstance because he's Vince's son at the end of the day. That's why he is where he is. And yes, he can do his thing. He can be entertaining, but he's there by circumstance. And he's taken up a spot as someone who could get a better match out of Braun and can make a better story out of Braun. It's just getting very silly. It's getting very, very silly. And I think we need to stop the Shane McMahon thing. And I mean, you look at Andrade. You put Andrade on the backbench and Aleister Black on the backbench for him, really?
Because he's the boss's son, mate, and it's the grand stage of them all. So you've got to fucking cater to the McMahons, because WWE, it's all about them. Has been for years. Yeah,
but I mean, I'm talking at the people here. Nobody in the right mind who's a wrestling fan watches this and goes, this is wrestling. This is what wrestling's supposed to be, and it just pains me. It really does pain me.
Yeah, it's.
It hurts me.
I can't disagree. But I'm literally just at the case of they've been doing it for years, so I just sort of like I tend not to, think too much about it because it's the McMahon family. They're gonna do whatever they want to fucking do, and knowing Shane's luck, he'll probably be fucking dragged out every single WrestleMania until like his kids or Stephanie and Hunter's kids are old enough to fucking take over the mantle themselves.
It's just a bit silly, isn't it, guys? Come on, we can do better than Shane McMahon, can't we?
I like to think so. Right, sub-main event of night 1. Bad Bunny and Damien-Priest defeating The Miz and John Morrison. 15 minutes and 5 seconds. I find it a shame that either Paul or Bunkle aren't here to debate this match, because I know that they felt very, 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 very strongly about this match. And I know we've said, Bad Bunny doesn't mean anything to us, but he's significantly more popular in sort of like modern day media than anybody in WWE really at the moment. And he's a wrestling fan. He seems to sort of like, he seems to have fucking trained for like the 3 weeks leading up to Mania, and it's a lot like Omos, really. I felt that he did a really good job. But I think Bad Bunny did his role well. I've been highly critical of Miz and Morrison in the past because I don't think much of them as workers. As characters, when they're not annoying as fuck, which is unfortunately 95% of the time, they are actually really, really freaking good. But I don't really rate them as workers. They had their fucking working boots on in this match. I thought they put over the babyfaces really, really well. Despite having an injury, I thought Damien-Priest, when he came in and did the few spots that he had to do, looked pretty decent. It's just unfortunate that he was working with a back injury at the time, because I feel that if he was working at 100%, then Bad Bunny wouldn't have been in there for as long as he would have. And I think my one main criticism with this match is the fact that Damien-Priest got literally like 10% of babyface like offense and defense in terms of it was pretty much all about Bad Bunny, which I mean, like I'm not opposed to celebrity involvement, but the simple fact of the matter is, if you've got like the celebrity influence from Bad Bunny coming in, it's a lot like me when I started going to wrestling shows in the northwest of England of a promotion that were remain fucking nameless. I went there for Prince Devitt or Finn Balor, however you want to call them, but I stayed for Chris Travis. I stayed for Team Single. I stayed for Dave Mastiff. Those were the names, including more, that encouraged me to sort of like go back and go show after show after show. And I feel that they missed a trick here, because the one thing with this match is everybody is talking about how well Bad Bunny did. They're not talking about how good Damien-Priest looked. They're not talking about how well Miz and Morrison worked. It's all centered around Bad Bunny. And the thing is, it was shown on Monday Night Raw. Bad Bunny weren't there on Monday night. Damien-Priest was. Miz and Morrison were. Bad Bunny wasn't. So you've got to prioritize better. You have to prioritize better.
And I think that's the danger with these celebrity matches. And I think I've brought this up several times about celebrity matches. I don't particularly like them because, like you said, chances are they're not going to be there next night. And they can't win. The wrestlers in them matches cannot win. Because if that celebrity does well, like in this instance, who are they all talking about? The celebrity. If the celebrity does rubbish, who are they all talking about? The celebrity again. Whatever happens in that match, the wrestlers involved, I don't think ever come out in a... I'm not saying not in a positive light, they just don't come out in any light at all. And I again, who showed up on the next night? Not Bad Bunny. And I think sometimes WWE fans get too involved in the hype of a celebrity in running up to WrestleMania, rather than. But again, that's a spectacle of WrestleMania. You get the odd celebrity appearance, but I think we've got to stop. I think we've got to stop them because nobody can win. Nobody can win, apart from the celebrity who gains notoriety, a bit more notoriety.
Well, I do honestly think there is a way of doing these sort of like celebrity matches. Just, showcase the... If you're going to put anybody in sort of like celebrity matches, put people in that you would want to showcase to a brand new audience.
Mm-hmm.
Because 9 times out of 10, if the talent that you want to showcase is good enough, then maybe there's a possibility of sort of like, a new fan base watching WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to watch that and sort of like go, whoa, Damien-Priest, fucking stuff he did in the ring was really fucking cool. Oh, yeah. if he's on Raw on Monday night, I might give it a watch. There you go. You've got a new potential fans who are going to tune into your product who might not have done to begin with.
Well, yeah.
I get the I do get what you mean. I do get what you mean. But there is a way of doing celebrity matches. There is a better way of doing it.
Yeah. I think there is, yeah.
Like, obviously, it couldn't be helped with the fact that Priest had like the injury in that. But, I mean, are you telling me he couldn't really do sort of like 2 extra minutes? Really?
Mm.
I mean, and I'm not downplaying Bad Bunny's performance. I mean, yeah, you have to take into sort of like consideration that this is a 145-pound bloke freaking rolling around, flying around the ring. We'd be fairly critical of people his size, doing the flip-de-doos that they do in other companies.
Yeah.
But it's bar a spot where he failed to he was meant to be chucked to the outside through the middle ropes and he got his freaking landing all kakadoo and almost went Enzo Amore on himself. Pretty much everything that he did was safe. It looked, it was fairly decent. He wasn't endangering himself or the people he was giving the moves to. It was decent.
Yeah.
He worked really, really well. But I would have liked to have seen more of Damien-Priest.
Yeah. And I think if you weren't carrying that, I think hopefully he keeps up some sort of momentum. And hopefully next time he does have a big match. We see him and not only him, obviously someone else, but him doing his thing that we know he can do. I watched him loads of times in Ring of Honor as Punishment Martinez. Mm-hmm. This boy can wrestle, yep. And I think everyone should see it. It's a shame he was injured at night. Maybe he would have done some more. Maybe he wouldn't. We don't know at the end of the day. But yeah, this boy can play. Play.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind the match. I didn't mind the match at all. It's just, the cases that we've put forward. It could have been better, in my opinion.
Yeah, celebrity matches are all going to have stretch opinions so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. People like him, people hate him. It's simple as. It's like Marmite. Big up Marmite.
Mm-hmm. And then we go on to the main event of night 1. Bianca Belair defeating Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. 17 minutes, 15 seconds. Right. I'm going to say off the bat, I did not hate this match. I didn't. To be honest with you, I was hardly paying attention by the time the main event hit, because A, I'd already had my fill of wrestling, and B, the build to this match was so freaking terrible, I had no interest in really paying that much attention to it. From watching a wrestling match and an emotional standpoint of being told a story. And I don't think that, well, for me, there wasn't that much of a story told. Like, it just seemed to be sort of like, bunch of moves being done to one another. It's a bunch of moves done in some ways really well. I'm not taking away sort of like, the work rate or the moves delivered by either woman. They worked their fucking arse off. They worked like they were in the main event of a WrestleMania. But like, I had this this one podcaster, Adam Bigelow from the Attitude Era podcast, and he always says that if you were to showcase a women's match to anybody that wasn't a wrestling fan, it would be Bayley versus Sasha Banks at that NXT TakeOver Brooklyn show.
Yeah.
Phenomenal match. Phenomenal freaking match. The promo package does its job of fucking telling the story. The story's really fucking simple going in, and they tell the story throughout the fucking match, and also the match itself is really, really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he was going out of his way to sort of like say, it was Sasha and Bayley that I would normally showcase to non-wrestling fans, but I think this might take the spot. It was like, mate, come on. It's like this. I don't see where the story was. Where was the story in this?
I said this on our predictions podcast. I don't see the champion or the character that everyone else sees in Bianca Belair. I don't see what they're getting at. Oh, she's a great worker. She's a
fantastic athlete.
But I'm not seeing I don't know. There's just something about it that makes you think, no, not yet. Not just you've got to get some more matches under your belt, more time to get people to know you. I think coming from relative obscurity, really, to win the Royal Rumble. And now this, I think it's a case of too much too soon.
Mm.
And I think I don't want her to. Obviously, I wish the girl all the success in the world. I just think they've pushed this too soon.
Yeah.
And maybe have her come on the main roster this year, get everyone to know her, get her some solid matches, and people get that build-up of, oh, God, this girl can work. We got to watch this, that, and so let's make a favourite for the Royal Rumble. She's going to win the Royal and have that proper build-up with her. They didn't have it. There was no, like you said, there was no story. There was no build-up. It was just, they even had tag team match. They had tag team match at the last pay-per-view. I mean, it's so confusing to me for Sasha seemed happy. It's not about the match. It's not about the two women. I think it's the circumstances that surrounded it at the end of the day. And they weren't right for either of them. I think if you have Sasha retaining that title throughout this year, I think if you flip it and have Sasha retain the title throughout the year, have Bianca in the background, sort of winning matches, doing quite well, getting people talking, and then do this next year.
Have her chase it for the year.
And have it next year, have Banks dodging her, and then do that. You'll get such a big payoff. Mm-hmm. This was so rushed, and there was nothing. You can tell it was like make it up as we go along. It was very much like Lost, the TV series. You know what? The first episodes that were great, and the next bit was like, where the fuck are you going with this? They didn't know. Obviously, they didn't know where they were going with it. And I got that feeling from this. Not taking it away from these two women. They're amazing workers. They're amazing wrestlers. They're absolutely fantastic. I just think they've been done over once again by WWE not trusting long-term booking. And it's, in this case, I think it's really, really hurt them because you've potentially devalued the title somewhat. I think they've potentially set Bianca Belair Belair up to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, if no one's getting behind her and it turns out to be a dud title run, the next thing they're going to do is, as soon as they get the chance, whack it back on Sasha. And it's going to look bad on her, look bad on that title, and no one can win. That obviously there's going to be a rematch with Sasha at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put it past WWE to put the title back on Sasha.
No.
And that's the problem I have with this, not trusting this long-term booking. And I feel bad for Bianca Belair because she could be something really big.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's all been rushed, it's not got the payoff it should do.
No.
Either. Yes, it was emotional. Obviously, we all saw that Sasha was out on the ring, but she was smiling, looking at Bianca. Bianca was going in hysterics. Her family celebrating the win. Obviously, the crowd, liked it.
Michael Cole blew the big ending spot, claiming that Sasha kicked out.
I know. It just didn't work out. Two great wrestlers, two great wrestlers, one great match. The right person probably won, but not at the right time.
Yeah.
Not the right circumstances, not the right build-up, not the right storyline. I feel awful for these women because I feel like it's a good match that's been thrown away. I think it has been thrown away slightly.
Yeah. And to sort of like relate back to, again, that Sasha Bayley match from that takeover, I had an emotional connection with that match, as well as it being a really good fucking wrestling match. Whereas this one was, it was a good wrestling match.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it wasn't a good wrestling match. It was a good wrestling match. I just had no emotional connection with it at all.
No.
Whatsoever. And so, when I'm seeing all this stuff online of just sort of like, it's one of the, it's one of the great WrestleMania main events. I'm like, fuck off, will you? Just
people need to calm down.
Or, not fuck off, but if you actually think that, fair enough. You've obviously not been sort of like watching quality WrestleMania main events like I have for like nigh on 20 years or whatever. But yeah, it's for me, as I say, good match, decent match, but did it emotionally captivate me? No, absolutely not. And that is the end of night one, and I'm gonna probably put a stop on I'm gonna pause the recording. We'll take a quick break, just in case Coxie wants to edit in a little ad break questionarium or whatever is this.
Put some ads in.
Get that revenue. And we'll be back for night two in a short couple of minutes.
Wahoo! Right.
Hi, I'm Mike from the Genuine Chit Chat podcast, where we have honest conversations with interesting people. I speak to a wide variety of guests, from travellers to musicians to those afflicted with mental or physical illnesses. There's really no subject that's off limits, from movies to politics and even controversial topics ranging from sex to drug reform and political correctness. So if you still believe in the art of conversation, are intrigued by healthy debates with different ideas and perspectives you may not have thought of, and want a podcast where every episode is about something different with a variety of guests, then this may be the podcast for you. You can hear us on YouTube and all your favourite podcast apps, and follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. So if you want to hang out and listen to honest conversations with interesting people, then come to Genuine Chit Chat, where I'm your host, Mike Burton.
Well, hello, my name is David Hughes and I'm one half of Mooch TV, along with Chris Cassidy, a young aspiring actor and writer, now stuck with me, talking dribble every week on YouTube. You like interviews with such stars as Paul McCartney and Britney Spears? They're not on this show, but never mind, we'll do our own thing talking to local stars, and also film reviews and food reviews and anything else that cheers us up. So please, look for Mooch TV on your YouTube box. Mooch TV, the programme to watch when there's nothing else on the telly. Pit people.
And we are back with part 2 of the Lost Art of Wrestling's WrestleMania 37 review show. So yeah, I can't believe that we didn't talk about this when we were talking about night one. But we forgot to talk about the interactions from the hosts of WrestleMania, that being the winner of the Warrior Award for 2021.
Yeah, that's the diddly.
I think it was. And everybody's favourite best friend, including Titus's, the Hulkster, Hulkamania. I've completely ballsed this up. It was Hulk Hogan.
Some of my best friends are black.
Yes. Unfortunately, Titus wasn't one of them, as you could probably tell from his less than jovial, attitude when sort of like, well, I can't say attitude because, he's every right to act the way that he did. Like we were saying just before we start the recording back up, you can obviously tell he did not want to he did want to be there, but he did not want to be sharing the fucking stage with the Hulkster, brother.
He had no interest in being there, stood next to that arsehole.
No. And I also loved it on like night 2 when they came out dressed as pirates and sort of like Titus is there swinging his like great big massive pirate sword out.
Hey.
Not in that one. Keeping it PG, much like WWE. I was just sort of like, God, is he gonna like? Because like the way he was like gesturing at Hogan with the sword. God, this sounds more phallic the more I keep talking about it. But
very
no,
phallic segment of the WrestleMania show.
Yeah, I thought it was literally just be a case of sort of like, if Titus had the chance, he would probably fucking jab it through that bastard's heart. And I can't say that I blame him. Cannot say that I blame him. But yeah, they I mean, it would have been fine if they just sort of like, had the opening segment on night 1. Okay, there are your hosts. That's fine and dandy. But they did it again on night 2. And for both appearances, when they came out in front of the crowd, Titus got, sort of like, the little round of applause, little golf clap. And Hulk Hogan got booed out of Raymond James Stadium. And you probably wouldn't be able to...
Is that the name of the thing now? Is that the name?
Yeah, I looked it up. When
I was going to say, if we Googled that now.
Yeah. But you wouldn't have been able to hear that because it was audio sweetened to fuck, because God knows that we can't fucking boo at somebody without it getting in, audio sweetened to fuck.
Yeah, I mean, Hulk Hogan's legacy has long been tarnished, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I felt awful for Titus because he was probably forced to do it. He looked uncomfortable, as were I watching it, really. It was clearly a publicity stunt for Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
Because
look at me, I'm not racist.
Yeah, well, that's what it was. That's what it was. It was nothing more, nothing less. And unfortunately, I had Titus O'Neil pulling the short straw.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be near the man, and nobody on the God's green earth can blame him. I don't think anyone wants to see Hulk Hogan anywhere near a WWE arena, ring, or anything to do with wrestling at this minute in time. The man is practically wrestling poison.
Yep.
From the dark days of when he was at his most popular, the man was a bit of an arsehole, a bit of a twat to people. I mean, from then, and you look at WCW and what he did to that. You look at what he did to TNA. I mean, I trashed TNA a lot, but fuck me, was that on a big rise? And then him and Eric Bischoff came along and got. And if it weren't for Dixie Carter's naivety and all that, maybe TNA Impact would be in a different place by now. We don't know. But I just want to say, Hulk Hogan, go fuck yourself. You're wrestling poison, and you don't deserve to be anywhere near. And I hope, and I apologise to Titus O'Neil on WWE's behalf, because I know they're gutless and spineless and can't do it.
Couldn't have put it better myself, mate.
Amen.
Right, so night 2 kicked off in well, I was going to say the worst thing possible, but then I just realised that the women's tag match was right after this, so didn't really help matters.
I didn't see that thing, did it?
Randall Kenneth Orton defeated The Fiend. In 5 minutes and 50 seconds. Now, I pretty much said on the prediction show I was not expecting this to be good. I was expecting this to be pure bollocks. And it was complete pure bollocks. You know, Randy Orton's new white and red gear just looked weird. You know, Alexa coming out and with great difficulty trying to do like the whole Jack in the Box. I will say this sort of like, you know, I've always said this about The Fiend. Don't care what you say about him as a worker. Don't say what you say about a character. His entrance is fucking cool. It's really fucking cool. It's about
I like the whole character of The Fiend. I think it's pretty fucking cool. Entrance theme to appearance. But he fucking loses everything and it's just embarrassing and it's just, it's just so, don't do it for the character that he just fucking loses constantly.
I was quite annoyed that he didn't come out in sort of like, you know, his Ivan Ooze burnt freaking moniker as The Fiend. I'm kind of a little bit annoyed that he's sort of like gone back to regular old Fiend. But mind you, Randy Orton got burnt in the face and like came back at the Royal Rumble like 2 weeks later, acting as if he just sort of like, you know, just got like lightly sunburnt. So, you know, I probably wasn't expecting much. The match was a Fiend match. It was literally just a case of Orton hitting a draping DDT, and then another draping DDT, and then another draping DDT, and then like the Fiend came back looking like he was going to win, which he should have done, in my opinion, because the whole of this fucking feud has been the Fiend and Alexa playing mind games with Randy Orton because Randy Orton burnt the fucking Fiend to a purple crisp, basically. And then we got the whole bollocksy bullshit of Alexa just basically, you know, changing into, I don't know, Bride of fucking Frankenstein.
I was going to say Wednesday Addams.
But, yeah, and, you know, there's... Hang on a second, my freaking Alexa's going off. Just give me a second. I know why.
I'll add filler. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're on your own with me. I'm on my own with you. This is a very personal podcast now. Oh, he's coming back.
I know why it is. It's because I said Alexa. I'm gonna have to say Bliss now.
Bliss.
Right. So
Alexa,
anyway,
what are my bank details?
So yeah, it basically went to Fiend's gonna get the win. Then Bliss comes out dressed as sort of like, you know, Bride of Frankenstein.
It reminds me of a game, and I can't remember. Senua's Sacrifice or something?
I've got a clue.
I dare everyone to Google. Don't Google it just yet. Just wait till I get the correct one in case something weird and wonderful turns out. Or just weird or maybe just wonderful. Who knows? Carry on.
Yeah, so she's just basically sat there cross-legged, and then black ooze starts coming out, and I thought, oh, Papa Shango's back. It's like,
yeah.
You know, very Ultimate Warrior-esque from 1992.
Quickly going back, it is Senua's Sacrifice.
Oh, yeah. I remember you.
So everyone Google that, you'll sort of know what I mean. And
yeah.
I'm not just talking bollocks like I usually do.
No, you're not. So yeah, this for some reason distracted the Fiend, and then he got RKO'd once, and
that's once. That's once. Once. That's once.
Bearing in mind, this is the same person who's no-sold multiple curb stomps, multiple running knees, multiple weapon shots, gets felled by one RKO and loses. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this to be good, but I thought that they would actually, you know, go the route of putting the correct person over as the story that they've told throughout this entire bollocks feud, and they couldn't even fucking do that properly. And it reflected in the crowd because they never fucking recovered from this, in my wholehearted opinion.
No, completely agree. I mean, either do something with the Fiend and Bray Wyatt or let him go. It's getting silly now that he keeps losing these big matches one after the other, and it's so damaging to what you're trying to create. I mean, The Fiend is something that should be really fucking cool and really fucking dominating, and he just looks fucking stupid. And there's no point in getting behind him or being interested in a feud, because we know, when the big match comes, he's going to fucking lose it.
Mm.
And I don't know what's going on with Alexa Bliss at this. I mean, yes, she looks cool, and the two of them look cool together, and the whole characters and everything, it's cool, it's interesting, it's batshit crazy, but that's what I like about it. But get him to win something, get him to win a match, for fuck's sake. It's just painful every week. Every time, every Mania, he loses the big one. He loses the big one, and there's no point in building a character up just so they can lose. And that's all they do with The Fiend. That's all they do.
It seems to me that the only reason they had Orton go over the way that they did was because they wanted to get Bliss over. I don't know. I'm just fucking speculating. But, yeah, as I say, I thought absolutely nothing of this, and it killed the crowd for the rest of the night for matches that I was wholeheartedly looking forward to.
And I think it's killed The Fiend as well. I hate to say it, but I think I think it has killed it.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Bray Wyatt, because this guy is so good. And he has to reinvent himself every single fucking time this shit happens. And he does it. And he does it so amazingly well. And then he loses again. And then he has to reinvent himself again into something even more batshit crazy. What does he have to do?
Probably like you say, mate, just sort of like either keep him off television so he can just earn a shitload of money without hurting himself, or just go somewhere else.
There's plenty of other promotions that would have him, and it's like with the Cesaro, and I'll go back to this. WWE have got to be really careful what they do with these talents, because Cesaro and Bray Wyatt will hurt WWE more if they go to other companies. I think so. I mean, you don't want to see Cesaro in an NWA ring? With that NWA title. I mean,
no.
Cesaro with that £10 of gold, man.
I'm not saying I wouldn't love to say I wouldn't love to see that, but you know, at the same time, I want people to be, if they're not getting what they want out of sort of like, you know, on screen, I want to make sure that they're being looked after from a financial aspect.
I think there's also a point of, I mean, how does Bray Wyatt feel right about now? Because he's got an amazing gimmick after amazing gimmick after amazing promo after an amazing promo after an amazing work after amazing work, and he's not got the just rewards from it. He's not got a momentum that a big star like he should have. And it's disappointing to see his spot go to someone else. I mean, I'm not mad at Randy won to a degree, but surely the Fiend should have won this.
Oh, the Fiend definitely should have won this. And like I say, I'm not pissed off, but it
just damages that character more.
The story that they were telling, it sort of like it made sense for the Fiend to win. And that's what the fans wanted to see. They wanted to see the Fiend win so he could sort of like give Randy Orton his comeuppance. And that didn't happen. And it's sort of like, you know, put everybody in a bad mood. And it's almost as if WWE saw that coming and it's like, I know what'll perk him up. The women's tag team title match.
Oh, great. And segue.
Segue into Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler successfully defending the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships against Natalya and Tamina. I mean, this match was never going to be good, but do we really need to see nearly 14 and a half minutes of it? Really?
And WWE fans, do you really think this was a good match? can you really honestly do it? I'm not saying I'm not a WWE fan, but I'm a wrestling fan first and foremost. But the fans there were cheering.
They were
really odd.
They were into Tamina and Natalya. I think they were literally just the case of, yeah, okay, that was shit, but it's been fucking forever since we've been to a live wrestling show. Let's, God love it, God love them for trying. But I've literally just looked through the entirety of night 2. The tag match was the second longest match of the night.
It's scary that the WWE rate it that highly. I think it is scary that WWE rates, for someone like Nia Jax with her history, to go 14 minutes is quite dangerous, I think.
Well, I mean,
forget the joking, forget the it's
no.
I think it's really, really scary and dangerous.
We've been saying this for years, mate. I can't
remember last time we talked about this, but I remember
it was during the Arties.
Yeah.
Talking about
Are we waiting for her to kill someone?
Yeah.
Because that's the next step, isn't it? I mean, people might think I'm being over dramatic and stuff, but let's be honest, she's done everything but kill someone. So far, I mean, is that what we're waiting for?
Yeah.
So for her to end someone's career?
Yeah. I hate to be morbid, but
she's a liability, and she's going to hurt someone at the end. Thank God she's got someone like Shayna Baszler, who's quite competent, I would say, who can take most of that match and keep her out of it.
Yeah.
But Jesus, I mean, we're really going to do this?
Yeah. Well, this match was summed up to me by 2 spots. One was Nia Jax doing a crossbody off of Bret Hart's rope, the most dangerous of ropes, and Tamina and Natalya having to wait there for half an ice age just so she could A, get into position, and B, jump off. Just made your opponents look really fucking stellar there, Nia. And then the second one was Natalya putting the sharpshooter onto Nia Jax, despite the fact that Nia Jax wasn't the legal man because she wanted to get a WrestleMania moment. And then she immediately got punished for it when Baszler put her in the Carafugia, or put her in the Carafugia, or to whatever the name of her clutch is. It starts with a K. I know that much.
K clutch. The K.
Clutch. The K clutch. Baszler immediately put Natalya in the K clutch and instantly got the win. So serves you right, Natalya, you fucking moron.
$1.
Do I see 2? Do I see 2? Do I see 1.5? Do I see 1.5? No.
50 cents. 50 cents. No.
Sold for $1. This match was nothing. And it went far too fucking long.
Yeah. Hey, we're not going to waste time talking about this.
No. Oh, Christ. Now we have to go on to the next match, which I feel kind of bad, given that it's fucking, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. Should be fucking barn burner. But it's the inclusion of someone by the name of Logan-Paul. And he was given fanfare, and he was given entrance music, and he was given fucking entrance Titantron, and they kept fucking cutting to him in the middle of the fucking match. It's like I said to you on the fucking Messenger group when we were watching this, is just sort of I find it embarrassing that we live in an era where a twat like this is considered a celebrity.
I completely agree. Why are we giving this idiot any more? I'm going to try not to talk about him too much, because he's a since the notorious incident with him doing what he did.
Yep.
He's obviously had a few boxing fights with KSI. KSI's beaten him both times, even though the first one was a draw. I mean, I watched the fight; it was a clear KSI win. KSI obviously boxed the living shit out of him last time. I'm going to say he's listening to him on his podcast, Impulsive, and listening to him talk about, because I will credit him with this. he's not shied away from the fact that he's done something incredibly shit. And whenever someone does bring it up against him, he talks about it in a respectful way. To be fair to him, in a way that sounds like he's genuinely apologetic. And I think he genuinely did have this momentary lapse of judgment, shall we say, and it's caused him. It was a horrifically shit thing to do. He's never shied away from the fact it was a shit thing to do. He held his hands up straight away, and he's done a lot of trying to win people back on side. Just listen to him every now and again. I think he sounds genuine, sincere about everything. His dickhead of a brother is doing him no favours as well, unfortunately, because his brother is a monumental arsehole. I'm not going to even say his name because I don't want to give him publicity. But Logan, to be fair to him, he's done some soul searching, I think, and yes, it was a horribly shit thing to do and hate him forever, but I do believe in second chances. And I think this fella's well on his way to earning one. However, he has no right to be in a WWE arena, in a WWE ring, especially when it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who can put on 5-star matches with their tiny little... They could have an arm wrestling match and still make it a 5-star. Why? Why'd you do this to me, WWE? Why'd you do this? I mean, these guys could just tell them to go out there and have a 10-minute match, and they'll make it amazing.
Yeah.
You don't need to get someone like Logan-Paul. You don't need a celebrity in that. You don't need to get a celebrity to make people interested in that. Come on.
Yeah.
It took so much away from it.
Mm-hmm.
It really, really did.
Yeah. No. Definitely agree with that. To be honest, my only highlight of the match really was when Owens did sort of like a corner clothesline. He went running back to the opposite corner to do another one, and Zayn caught him coming out of the corner with a haluva kick. And JBL, who for some reason was on commentary for this match, don't know fucking why, he just was, just made the point of pointing out it's when Owens is just sort of like laying up against Zayn after eating the haluva kick. JBL just sort of like made the point of like going, God, it's like their match at Battleground. Which is like
in 2016, am I right? Yeah.
Which was just sort of like, yeah, it's a good bit of commentary. And it literally took me like half a second. I was just sort of like, oh yeah, but that was in a match that was a hell of a lot better than this one. I was like,
It took a lot of things, took the sting out of what could have been. It's on par with, I think, Cesaro and Rollins. This could have been a very similar affair, but I think the circumstances surrounding it, again, putting Logan-Paul in, which is so unnecessary. Yeah. And I felt sorry for Logan-Paul in a way, because I think he knew it as well. Just seeing the way he was.
Well, nobody in the crowd fucking liked him because they kept doing the shit.
Well, that's just it. And I don't think he enjoyed it there. I don't think he belonged there. I think he knew it.
Well, what did he fucking expect?
I know.
But yeah. Anyway,
should have been a great match, wasn't?
Yeah, should have been a great match, wasn't. Owens beat Zayn with the stunner in 9 minutes 20. It should have been a hell of a lot better than it was. Right, then we move on to Sheamus defeating Matt Riddle for the WWE United States Championship in 10 minutes 50. I actually thought this match was pretty decent, I'll be honest. Yeah. I thought this match was really, really, really quite decent. I sort of like it went the way I hoped it would, in that Sheamus is like a snug worker, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would probably call him. Matt Riddle, obviously with his former MMA background, knows how to sort of like take a beating, and he's probably one of those that he's willing to give back. And they did, because they both of them beat 7 loving shades of shit out of each other.
They did.
If I had one criticism, really, there was one too many sort of like, corkscrew sentons from Matt Riddle. Like, I realised that you can do those stuff, But you can do those kind of moves, but less is more, pal. Less is freaking more.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to do it once, like fine, fair enough. But at least make it sort of like a top rope one. Don't do it for like 3 times in the space of 90 seconds because it just devalues the fucking move.
Yeah, it sort of breaks up the match too much for my liking. It's like you got to stop the flow of the match for this spot and that spot and everything. And I think sometimes you do it when you do that too much.
You devalue it.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened here. I thought this was all right. I
love the finish.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think just sort of like, going for the springboard move. It's like, it was very reminiscent of the Adam Cole Ricochet takeover match.
It was, yeah.
Where the Ricochet is all about the flip-de-doos and he goes for the springboard moonsault and Adam Cole kicks him out, super kicks him in midair. So it's exactly the same thing except Sheamus delivering a bro kick to Riddle's mouth, subsequently busting it open and winning the championship. And yeah, I mean, like if they want to put the belt on Sheamus, have him have like some really great fucking knockout brawls with similar opponents, I'm all up for that because it seems to me that he's got into a knack of having good matches with people who have similar styles with him. It's sort of like it's sort of like the same way how like people like, I'll use New Japan as an example, the likes of Tomohiro Ishii, Minoru Suzuki, Shingo Takagi. You get any 3 of those in the ring with each other, they're going to have a great fucking match because the styles are similar and they just bounce off each other. Yeah.
Sheamus is a very solid worker. You know what I mean? He gives you a good match 9 times out of 10. You know what? You want to put on a good solid match, upper mid card sort of thing. Sheamus is your man at this minute in time. Again, the finish, credit to Riddle because it's an unprotected one as well. It can go very west very quickly.
Yep.
So fucking big ups to Riddle because you can't say Matt Riddle because things might come up you don't want to see. Yeah, but credit to him. Did he have a bloody mouth? Was that genuine as well?
Yeah.
Was that genuine? So even more. So it was an unprotected kick that he just took right in his face. Fair play to him. And I see, Riddle winning more titles and going on to more success as well. So I think Riddle will recover from this, no problem. And again, these two can do it all again in another pay-per-view, and I wouldn't be upset.
No.
I like seeing these two in the ring. I think, like you said, the styles complement each other very well, and credit to him for putting on a match after a horrible opener, an even worse seconder, and then a very iffy third, and coming on after, but the crowd was absolutely fucking borderline dead and fed up at this point. So credit to him for winning them back. I think this was the match that won back the crowd.
Yeah. Next up, Apollo Crews defeating Big E in a Nigerian drum fight.
I still don't know what a Nigerian drum fight is.
Neither do I. It's Apollo Crews won the Intercontinental Championship by defeating Big E in a Nigerian drum fight in 6 minutes and 50 seconds. I basically, as the two guys were making their entrances, they seem to have it set up the same way they would set up like the floor bit for like a Punjabi prison match.
Yes.
So I just basically looked at this as a Punjabi prison match, but without the two great big massive cages.
Without the Punjabi prison.
This match was nothing. This match was really nothing, and I was expecting a lot more, but it descended into just like hardcore wrestling, and they took turns, hitting each other with kendo sticks, and then I'm not even sure if like a drum was properly used. I know a table was used, and I know a couple of kendo sticks were used, and then like at the end it looks like Big E's going to hit his finish and win, and in comes Dabba-Kato, of Raw Underground fame in a Colonel Gaddafi cosplay. Just basically lays out Big E. Cruz rolls on top and wins. I would say the only real positive from this is that my boy Apollo Crews, UR Nation, is a champion in WWE.
You know something? I'm not upset about this. I like this little.
I'm not upset with the result. Yeah, I'm not upset. I'm not upset with the result. Not upset with the result at all.
I like everything that's going on with this feud, actually. I think it's a nice little feud they've got going on. I like to see him do more. Hope it's not the end of it. I think it will continue. Yeah, like you said, Uha, Intercontinental Champion. It's nice to say that. Yeah. It is very nice to say that.
After years of sort of like obscurity and nothing really happening for him.
He sort of found something that works now. And I like a little heelish character in him. It's nice to see. Yeah, he's
not sure about the Nigerian accent, but
no. Well, he's trying something new, and it's paying off so far, and he's winning big matches.
He's got titles to show for it.
He's got. Well, this is what I mean. He's got that, and you know what? Credit to him. Every credit to him. I hope it's a nice long title run, and they don't just slap it back on Big E or slap it towards someone else. Just let him have it. See what he can do with it. Give him that chance. Give him that chance, WWE.
Yeah. He might well surprise you. Right. Sub-main event for night 2. Rhea-Ripley defeating Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship in 13 minutes 30. I'll be honest, this was the equivalent of AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. I was expecting a hell of a lot more, and they didn't really seem to get out of second gear.
We know these girls can do more.
Yeah.
We know that. And I think that's the disappointment from this. We know they can do more. Yeah, it was very flat. No disrespect to the two girls.
It was incredibly flat. Like it was an incredibly flat match up until the DDT spot off the apron. That spot was sick. Yeah. And I was just thinking, fucking hell, that actually looked incredibly fucking dangerous. It's like, right, okay, let's see what happens from here. And then it was literally 2 minutes later, Asuka misses like a charging knee or a charging hip attack, and Rhea immediately hits the Riptide and pins her. And I was like, oh, okay. Which is a shame, because I like both women. Granted, I like Asuka a hell of a lot more than I like Rhea Ripley, but there is much upside to Rhea Ripley, in all honesty. And I was just expecting more than I got, in all honesty.
Yeah, I think we expected so. I don't think that damaged. Do I think it damaged the match that I was expecting more of? And probably yes. And because I know what both girls are capable of, and I both know what they can do, and I've seen them at the top of their game. It may be a case of just two very great workers can't work together. I mean, we have seen it quite a few times. Two great workers can't make good matches.
Yeah.
Maybe give them another crack at it, see how they go again. I'm sure they will.
Well, they seem to give them another crack on Monday night, and I don't know whether it was. There was talk of Rhea Ripley possibly rolling her ankle or something like that, but apparently the match that they had on Monday night was a complete car crash, from what I heard.
It's disappointing for both women. Asuka, again, is another one that loses a lot of big matches.
She still hasn't got on win at WrestleMania.
But this is it, isn't it? Rhea Ripley, I think, would have won last year if there was fans, because I think there was momentum with her to an extent. So I think she would have won if there was fans. She's won this year. Again, WWE have got the long-term booking and timing wrong, and it's hurting stars. It's hurting. Well, these two women are two stars. They are. They're so good. They're so different as well. Two completely different people, but equally as popular as the other, and equally as talented as well. It's a shame they couldn't do what we thought they could.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm hoping Ripley goes on for again. Same for Cruz. She's got to go on a long title run to really solidify herself as someone who can, when they do lose the title, they can come straight back into the picture again. Again, I hope that happens because I like the whole Rhea-Ripley thing. She's fucking cool. You know what I mean? So is Asuka fucking cool.
Bar the live entrance. Stop trying to make fucking live music entrances happen because
I don't like
99.9% time. 99.9 times out of 100, they're fucking dog shit.
Unless it's Motorhead, don't do it. Yeah.
Even Motorhead weren't that good.
Yeah, but it's fucking Motorhead. Fucking Motorhead, man.
Oh, anyway, we get onto the main event of night 2. Roman Reigns successfully defending the WWE Universal Championship against both Edge and Daniel Bryan. 21 minutes, 40 seconds, the longest match of either show. I'm unsure what to make about this one, to be honest. I think there were good stuff. There was good stuff in them. I particularly like sort of the powerbomb spot that Reigns did to Daniel Bryan, because in the course of sort of like picking him up, there was a great big massive Roman sucks chants from the crowd. So it's almost as if like him as a character did the powerbomb in sort of like retaliation to the crowd egging him on, which is quite cool. I also like although it was sort of like nonsensical of Edge continuously throwing people into the ring and just sort of like a case, he could pin him here and win the title. And he's like, nah, I'm just going to go behind here and get a couple of chairs. And it's sort of like it seemed to backfire on them at some point because with a tug of war with Roman, one of the chair legs came off. And then Edge Edge used it when doing sort of like a crossface submission later on into the match. And actually like when Bryan came in and sort of like put on his own sort of like label lock on the same side, and then him and Edge just sort of like exchanging headbutts. I actually quite like that. It's quite a cool sort of like, you know, visual spot, even though it doesn't really make any sense from a continuity aspect. What probably killed this match for me was the constant interference spots from Jey Uso. They got tired. They got very boring very, very fucking quickly. And it sort of put a little bit of a dampener on, like, you know, because, you know, the way this match ends is Roman beating the shit out of both Edge and Bryan with steel chairs, putting them on top of each other, and then pinning them both simultaneously. I mean, that is a cool fucking visual for, you know, if it was like a monster fucking heel who had just come off of a rampage, it would have been really fucking cool. But it's the fact that he, once again, it's the one issue I have with Roman Reigns, he constantly needs outside help to win matches. And that's okay if you're sort of like, you know, a Ric Flair or a Miz, where you're not sort of like seen as sort of like, you know, Jesus Christ superstar in your wrestling promotion, but Roman Reigns is supposed to be. And I realise this is sort of like, it's going to make me sound pedantic because this is probably sort of like the opposite of what I thought of him as a babyface. But to be honest with you, he should have made the heel transition a hell of a lot sooner than he ended up doing. But I'm just looking for a little bit of legitimacy. I'm looking for a little bit of Lashley in him. Because, like, Lashley is a heel, and, yeah, he may need, like, a little bit of help from MVP every now and then, but it's not his go-to weapon.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree.
That's the problem that I have with Reigns.
What's...
It's like, I don't discredit his work as a heel,
Mm.
but it gets too tiresome too quickly. The fact that he constantly needs help. Like, if he were doing it himself, fair enough.
Mm.
But it's the fact that he constantly needs this outside presence. And again, I don't think it works for him when you're a fucking hulking Samoan beast and you look the way that you do, particularly now that you've taken the fucking protective chest piece off.
I think now it hurts more knowing that he doesn't need them kind of heelish tactics. I think that's what hurts more.
Mm.
And again, it does quite a lot of damage. I think in the short term, I don't think people are going to mind or notice, because you've got to establish the heel character some sort of way, because if he just starts blindly winning matches again, people are going to cheer, and that's what they want. So I think it works to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're getting away with it now.
Mm.
But I think further down the line, if it keeps happening, people will cotton on. People are going to start bringing it up, and all it takes is two people to go, oh yeah, it does happen quite a lot. That's all that needs, and then all of a sudden he's back down to being what he was again, a joke.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that to happen to him. He's obviously... I don't think Vince was the one that honestly said, let's turn Roman heel.
Oh, no.
I think, honestly, it's a choice that Roman made.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty fucking ballsy one. Because, again, it could have gone seriously west for him. It could have gone seriously wrong. Putting Paul Heyman with him is a masterstroke. Jey Uso has come out of nowhere to be some kind of singles hero, singles superstar. But like you said, those spots with the interference, again, short term, probably won't do that much. But in the long run, the longer this title run goes on, unless they do something where the next match is, the Jey Uso and Paul Heyman are banged from ringside, and then he wins again.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be good to see them there, and him win in front of them without their help.
Yeah.
Again, short term, okay, it's doing the business, making him a heel. But in the longer term, we need to see, like you say, some legitimacy and some consistency into who Roman Reigns the heel is, and that is what you just said, a hulking Samoan beast. Let's make him that. Let's make him head of the table. Let's make him dominant. Because if you don't, he's going to be right back to the beginning again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I realise we beat this fucking horse to death on this podcast, but look at how Nick Aldis portrays himself as a heel world champion. Does he really need outside interference? 95% of the time, no, because he carries himself so well as a fucking heel. Yeah. And Roman, sort of like in his promos, carries himself in a similar way. But if Nick Aldis had the sort of like the same kind of booking in terms of sort of like fuck finishes with his matches, I don't think we'd hold him in as high regard as we do.
No, he's spot on. You're absolutely spot on there. Yeah.
I think, as you say, with Reigns going for in the short term, as long as it was a case of, doing it every so often, then fair enough. But you can't have Roman Reigns looking the way that he does, constantly having sort of like, the cheap, easy victories, because it'll get old. It'll get stale and old very fucking quickly.
Yeah, it'll get very boring very quickly, and people will clock off.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it from WrestleMania. As I say, like, night 2 was considerably better than night 1. But it wasn't anything atrocious. There were bits that were quite bad, but I can't say that ever sort of like ruined ruin the event for me. In all honesty, I think this was a fine WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was. I think it's certainly up there in wrestling pay-per-views so far. Obviously, they're back to one night next year, are they? One night of this.
Apparently so. I think so. Let me just double check real quickly.
So it's apparently goodbye to the two nighters. I thought it actually worked well with two nights.
It worked well for night one. Because if you look at night one, night one's got longer matches than night two, but night one flowed better as a show than night two did. Like I said, in sort of like the group chat at the end of night two, I didn't enjoy it as much as night one because I don't think it was paced as well as night one was.
No, yeah, I think it was very yeah, like you said, I think it nailed the head. I couldn't put it better myself, really. I like the two night setup because I think it gives lots of superstars set time, more time to do what they want to do, and I think it benefits the superstars more than anything. No doubt they'll probably go back to one night and it's all a big rushed event. I know it don't feel rushed for us because it's like an 8-hour slog of drinks and God knows what else, and we're there struggling to get there to the main event, and it just seems like, let's get to the main event, lads, we can fucking do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the two nights. I just feel sorry for the wrestlers when they get back to one night and everything has to be rushed and the matches have to be shorter. The spots have to be on point and they can't afford slip-ups.
Yeah.
But all in all, pretty decent WrestleMania considering all the circumstances going on.
Yeah, it was largely enjoyable. And the one last thing that I will say before we wrap up for the night, WWE, can you get your fucking network sorted? Because
you can't.
Yeah, because you've been given $1 billion fucking dollars worth from fucking Peacock, and now I can't watch select matches anymore without the feed cutting out. So I'll basically give context. Like earlier in the week, I was attempting to watch the Walter Tommaso Ciampa match from the first night of NXT TakeOver. I tried five times, maybe six actually. I tried 6 times to watch the match itself. I got all the way up to Walter and Ciampa locking up in the middle of the ring, and that's the furthest that I ever got, because every single time it would back out of the feed, take me straight back to sort of like, do you want to play this event? Yes. You press play, and it immediately starts the event from the fucking beginning again. And I've not tried it since, which is a shame, because I really want to watch that Walter Tommaso Ciampa match, because I hear it's really fucking great. Which I'm going to, via means, but fuck it. Yes, it's on the down low. Yeah. Through my legitimate version of the internet. Wink, wink. Right. I think that's pretty much it from our show today. So, Mr. Dark, do you want to plug whatever you have to plug, sir?
Yeah, please listen to all our other podcasts. From the lovely Phoenix pod that my good partner here does. Mm-hmm. I spent many a good year of my childhood watching Phoenix Nights, and it's boosted the old passion back, and I've been revisiting them with my stepson, who is also a very keen. He's obsessed with a certain psychic. Yeah, right. Yeah, he's pretty obsessed now. So that it's very lovely listen, and they're all lovely watches. So go back and watch them. Obviously, the RAD podcast that we all do as well, that we all snip in. I think I've done all the podcasts there that I know of.
Remember your TikTok, mate?
Oh, my TikTok, yes, of course. Please follow my TikTok at The Annoying Husband. Content is only once a week now due to the fact that I have a job. No disrespect if you don't. That wasn't shots fired. It really wasn't. I promise. I was just saying a thing. Mainly for my own benefit, because obviously on school holidays I can do more and do everything literally every single fucking day. But for now, it is just once a week. Brand new content. Go follow me. That's at The Annoying Husband.
Very good, sir. As Ant has mentioned, we're featured not only here on the Lost Art of Wrestling, the Lost Art of Podcasting, the Phoenix Pod, but also on the RAD Live podcast as well. It's pretty much, it's pretty much confirmed that I won't be back in work in time for the NFL draft, so I will be doing a watch along of this year's NFL draft on my YouTube channel. It's at Loggers109 on YouTube. Also, make sure that you're over there as well, because I recently invested in a replica lightsaber, and I've got all the footage recorded on my phone. I literally just have to get it over to Google Drive, which is a pain in the arse because it's fucking gigabytes worth of fucking footage. And then I've literally just got to edit it together. And I've got a new passion project that involves me looking at old classic Doctor Who as well. So the introduction video will be dropping any day now. And yeah, all the podcasts that were featured on Lost Art of Wrestling, Lost Art of Podcasting, Phoenix Pod, RAD Live podcast, they're available at all good podcasting sites. Spreaker, Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, Spotify. You name it, we're on it. If we're not, give us a bell and we'll see if we can get on to anywhere in particular. And just a pleasure as always, my man. Thank you very much for coming on.
Absolutely. Love being here. Love spitting the shit. Yeah, shooting the shit, yeah.
So, with that being said, I have been the L to the O to the double G, Lewis Ogden.
And I've been the annoying one, the man with his head upside down. I'm not going to say the master of boys, the real Not Daz, and
we'll see you next time on the Lost Art of Wrestling. Ta-ra.